Today's discussion is on worldviews. The questions have been posed by Dr. Marilyn Schlitz, a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, former director of research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, currently teaching a course on worldviews at Sophia University. This question comes from her class at Sophia University, so it's in response to her questions that today's discussion will be devoted to. Where do our worldviews come from? How do they shape our experience of ourselves and of others and our place in the world? How are worldviews valued? Are worldviews a valid view of what is really real? What is really real? So basically that's the question. Okay, so let's do our best to answer this question. The first way to respond to this question is there is no picture of the world, there are only innumerable ways of looking. Once again, there's no picture of the world, there are only innumerable ways of looking or seeing. Here's a very interesting experiment done many years ago in kittens. If you take a few kittens and you bring them up in a room that is only horizontal stripes, when these kittens become cats, they can see only a horizontal world. If you take another group of kittens and you bring them up in a room that has vertical stripes, then these group of kittens will only see a vertical world. So what happened? Well, in the initial period of the kitten's life, it was exposed to a certain visual stimulus, and then its synaptic networks arranged themselves to reinforce that visual experience. So ultimately the brain did only one thing, to reinforce the visual experience it was exposed to. Now, human beings are much more complicated, but this is what happens to us. In a very early stage of our lives, we are exposed to certain stimuli, perceptual stimuli. And these are in the form of sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell. But then these are interpreted to us. So we are told this is a pen, or this is a piece of paper, or this is the charger of my phone, the charger for my phone, this is a shirt, this is Deepak, etc. All we had in the beginning, though, was raw experience. What was that raw experience? It was sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. But now there's an interpretation of that experience, and then a picture of the world is formed for us. Is the picture of the world the only picture of the world? No, it's just one particular way of interpreting the world. So we are told that, Eskimos have many words for snow. We are told that when the white man went to one of the remote islands in the South Pacific, a big island, and they went interior, and the islanders asked these people, where did you come from? They took them to the ocean, they showed them their boats. I don't know if the story is true or not, but it's a good myth anyway. So then the islanders said, where did you come from? And the white people pointed at these boats, and I'm told that they couldn't see the boats, they could only see pixels, or the equivalent of pixels. So this is how world views are created. Now in human beings, of course, it's very complicated. World views are created by culture, by economics, by the historical period that we're living in, by the models of reality that human beings have constructed. Models means systems of thought like religion, philosophy, theology. There are other models of reality, economic models of reality, political ways of looking at the world. So all of them are created in the milieu that we were brought up in as children. So we are programmed into what we call systems of thought. Systems of thought determine the perception of reality. So of course we know that there are so many systems of thought, and each person who's embedded in that system of thought is basically living a reality that conforms with that system of thought. So the system of thought that we are programmed into informs our perception of reality. Informs our perception of reality at a very core level. It's not metaphorical. At a very real level, the picture of the world becomes our way of seeing it. I'm talking about not just the picture of the world, but actually the filter through which every perception is experienced. We can say, in other words, perception is a learned phenomenon. And some of these modes of knowing and perceiving have been there for centuries and centuries, and we can say that therefore who we are as a person is a result of what we can call a particular worldview, or you can say a combination, a gestalt of worldviews that include everything that we were exposed to, including our parents, our brothers and sisters, our playmates at school, and their parents, the prevailing conversation in the media as we grew up, our education itself, the subjects we learned. Did we learn theology or science? What we read in the newspapers, what we saw on television. Every experience is metabolized and converted into a world view. Now I'm going to say something very, very counterintuitive, but bear with me. What I'm going to say is there's no such thing as a world. There's only a worldview, or many, many worldviews. There's no such thing as a universe. That's a worldview of currently of science and the scientific methodology, which looks at the world in a certain way: observation, theory, experiment, validation, measurement. So science is very useful, of course, as I've said many times before, for creating technology, for making us communicate right now. But we must be careful not to confuse science with scientism. Scientism is a kind of a worldview which says that science is the only way of grappling with the truth. But the truth is more than what we see and perceive, right? So the scientific worldview gives us ways of creating technology and communicating, and a deep understanding of what scientists refer to as the laws of nature, which are really the regularities of experience. But science usually doesn't address ontological issues like what is the meaning and purpose of existence, what is the essential substance of the world? Is it matter, or isn't an activity in consciousness, etc.? So scientism is when you think that science answers every question. What is truth? What is ultimate reality? Who are we? What is the meaning and purpose of our existence? Why do we fall in love? Why do we suffer? These are not questions of the regular mainstream of science. So science is also a particular worldview. So this is what I want to say, and this is what I want to say is for the person who's embedded in the worldview, that is reality. But what I said a little previously, let me answer the question that nothing perceived, nothing that can be thought of, or nothing that can be known perceptually can be real. And here's what I want you to understand. So earlier I said, what is this? You would say it's a pen. What is this? You would say it's a wallet. What is this? You would say it's a shirt. But actually all it is awareness, and then an experience in that awareness, whether that's a shape, a form, a color, or a texture, a sound, a taste, a smell, a feeling, a thought. So all we have is awareness. I can't deny that. I can ask you right now, are you aware? And obviously you are. The one thing we can say about ourselves is that we exist. So existence is awareness. And the second thing that we can say about realities, that we are experiencing it. Whatever it is, we are experiencing it. So there's awareness and there's experience in awareness. The experience in a raw form is just a sensation, a sense perception, a shape, a color, a form, a texture, a taste, a smell, taste, smell, hardness, softness, a noise. But after that, it's all construct. And it gets programmed through language as soon as we're born. And then as we grow smart, then we are reinforced in our constructs, whether they're scientific, theological, philosophical, political, economic, and so on. And then we construct what we call reality. Reality is a construct, a human construct in this case. So reality is, somebody is objecting that facts are facts, but facts are also modes of knowing and experience in awareness. So all there is awareness and experience. The rest is a human construct, the rest is a worldview. So if you ask my opinion, there is no such thing as a body. It's just an interpretation of an intermittent stream of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. There's no such thing as stars and galaxies. That's a human construct for sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. There's no such thing as bosons, electrons, protons, and fundamental particles, and space-time, energy, information, matter. Those are constructs around awareness, and then the activities of awareness that are known in awareness as taste, texture, sounds, images, feelings, thoughts, period. So the rest is abstraction. Even science will tell you that the highest science, particle physics, etc., is based on particles that are mathematical abstractions. They're not perceptual objects. In fact, no one's ever seen a particle. What they see is trails of what they think are particles, and that they have measured in terms of mass and energy, which are human constructs. Do you see that everything that can be named or given a description, from subatomic particles to galaxies, to human bodies, to trees, to anything that we call reality, if we can name it, if we can describe it, then it's a construct. And no other animal does that. But creating constructs has created a remarkable, what we might call civilization or non-civilization. So money is a construct, nation states are constructs, latitude, longitude are constructs, the name Earth is a construct, kingdoms, political systems, all of these are constructs. They're ways of looking at the world. And of course, if we are very, very attached to a construct or ways of looking at it, then we can go to war, some of us become suicide bombers, some of us kill in the name of God, etc., etc., etc. So constructs allow us to create cathedrals and paintings and civilization and music and art, and religion, but they also imprison us because we get bamboozled into a very particular narrow range of reality. What is reality ultimately? Is awareness without construct. Awareness without construct. That's reality. Awareness and experiences and awareness. Sensations, images, feelings, thoughts that constantly arise and subside in every moment of now. David Kennett asks, are thoughts a construct? Thoughts are a construct. What is not a construct is the consciousness in which the thought arises and subsides. Yes. Okay, so to go back to the questions, where do our worldviews come from? From the hypnosis of social conditioning. How do they shape our experience of ourselves, others, and our place in the world? They have everything to do with our identity, with how we view other people, and how we view reality. Are worldviews a valid view of what is real? No. At the most fundamental level, we must know that every worldview arises from self-interaction, which means awareness interacting, awareness interacting with itself as a particular way of looking at the world. So what or who are you without constructs? Who you are is awareness. Who you are is creativity. Who you are is, in a sense, entangled with all that exists. Who you are is the ground of intentionality. Who you are is the experience of love when you're inseparably connected to all that exists. Who you are is the fundamental essence of reality, which in my view is awareness, because without awareness there is no experience of reality. So who you are is the universe. Without constructs, you are the universe when you are without contrast. And that is self-evolving, self-regulating, organizing. It displays complementarity, mind and matter, words though, complementarity. So it expresses itself as a collage of worldviews. and at the essence of it is just consciousness. Okay, thank you. I hope, Marilyn, that helps with your class. Take care.